Happy to everybody that's listening to the sound of my voice. I am your girl, Dr. Telisa Franklin. You're listening to the Dr. Telisa Franklin Show. And let me tell you, on today, I am so excited about today's show because I have a guest that knows all things legal, y'all. And what really makes me feel so good that she is a young lady that is of color that can help other young girls that aspire to be something great, to not just to stay at this one level, but to keep pushing it and keep pushing it and keep pushing it. And if you don't see it in your community, she's that girl to say, hey, I'm going to be that what you need to see. And so will you welcome us as we kick off this show, because it's all about community and culture, right? Is the one and the only Judge, Judge Stokes Batchlor. I almost took your name right.
It's just Taylor Batchlor. I've simplified things. Just Taylor Batchlor.
Okay, good. Thank you. It helps me out, right? Judge, thank you for being here with me. I'm so excited to have you.
I'm excited and just honored to have an opportunity to sit next to you.
Girl, honey, we just got to do what we do. But, you know, like I said, you are the Judge Batchlor, right? Mm-hmm. You were just put in the position to be in one of the most high profile courtrooms, I think, ever, really, in Memphis, right? Because one thing about Memphis, we're struggling with crime, we're struggling with poverty, and a lot of things that come to your court is a result of crime or poverty. They did crime to get out of what they need. So kind of do us a favor and kind of share, how did you get to be the judge?
Absolutely. Well, the short answer to that question is that I was recently appointed to the position. I was appointed to start serving March 1st of this year. I was appointed by the Shelby County Commission. Judge Bill Anderson was previously the judge of Division 7. He put in to retire, and once the county commission got notice of his retirement, applications went out and several people applied. I want to say about 14 people applied, and these were heavy hitters. This was a strong group of applicants that came out for the position, but by God's grace, I was selected to serve in this role, and so I'm super excited to have the opportunity to continue to serve. I said that's the short answer because, of course, there was a lot of work and a lot of behind the scenes and a trajectory that I spent basically from the time that I graduated from law school at University of Memphis Law School to get there, but the short answer is that I was recently appointed.
And so, your appointment was a blessing. So many people, it would, for me, when I would hear everybody say how great of an attorney, how great of a lawyer you are, how you've worked your way through different aspects. So you're just not a judge that only did one type of law. I think you did it all, right?
I did it all.
You did it all. Everything on it. So kind of share what that looks like, saying doing it all.
Yeah. Well, I had an opportunity. When I graduated from law school, I wanted an opportunity to hang my own shingle and work for myself. The reason is because my father is always my inspiration. He is a longtime entrepreneur in the Memphis area. He owned Allied Electrical Company, was a large minority contractor. I think you may know him in that capacity, and other people know him in the community. But he had an opportunity to he was an electrical journeyman, and then he ended up opening that business. Well, of course, entrepreneurship was something that he was good at. He proved to be successful at it, and he instilled the importance of entrepreneurship in me. And so when I graduated, instead of going immediately on to work for someone else, he wanted to empower me and show me that with a law degree and a computer, I had the skills to be my own boss.
Right.
And so he partnered me with what proved to be an amazing mentor, Sam Perkins. Sam Perkins was my friend. He's an attorney that everyone in the Memphis area knew. And he was just respected as an amazing trial attorney. So I went to work with Sam Perkins for a few months before opening Eskridge Law Offices. And at Eskridge Law Offices, I really developed my niche as a criminal defense attorney. I had an opportunity to do state work, and so similar to the works that's on my docket now. So it would be theft of property, aggravated assault, even murder cases, essentially. But I had an opportunity to do that work, and as I continued to get more experience in criminal defense, I had an opportunity to go to the federal side. I was on the CJA panel to do federal defense. And so once I got a taste of that federal work, I wanted to learn more. I wanted an opportunity to experience both sides of the law. I knew early in my practice that I felt like I was called to do the work of the judiciary, but I wanted to be confident. I wanted to understand both sides equally. So I made application to the U.S. Attorney's Office, became a federal prosecutor. So I had opportunity to work for the Department of Justice for the Western District of Tennessee. So that was Memphis and the counties all the way up until you get to Nashville. Nashville is where it stops, so you don't go into Nashville. But I had an opportunity there to just do amazing training and really learn the victim side of the work, the prosecution side of the work, to work closely with law enforcement, federal agencies, FBI, DEA, all of those alphabet law enforcement agencies that you hear on TV. So I did that work. And then I said, now I'm balanced. Now I understand both sides. Now I'm fully experienced. Let me make an effort to get a role in the judiciary. And so that's when I first made application to become a judicial commissioner. So I became a judicial commissioner through a similar process as what I did this time. You make application to the county commission, and I was at that point appointed for my first role in a judiciary, which was to become a judicial commissioner. Served in that role. Then Judge Sugarman ran for and became the juvenile court judge, and he brought me over as a magistrate for him. So even before being appointed in this role as a judge, I had an opportunity for 6-7 years of judicial experience, hearing cases and being in the middle. So that's why I say it was a long story, a lot of work, a lot of prayer, a lot of studying, but ultimately I'm here, and I say that I have a 360-degree view of the criminal justice system in a way that most people don't have.
Exactly. You have literally, you're right, 360, because you've done the work. You've made sure you just went in one capacity, so you know all sides. And so I'm sure that even helped when you're seeing your cases now. You understand what the defense has to say, and you understand what you can really understand where their angle is going and able to see through it and see what's really the truth.
Absolutely. And more importantly, I understand the role of the defendant, and I understand what that victim or person who is affected by crime is going through. Because that's the thing. The litigants, the citizens that are in court have rights. Victims have rights in court cases. Defendants have rights. And in order to fully appreciate and be able to do this work, having compassion for both sides and understanding the plight of both sides is not just a good thing, but it's a necessity. In fact, it is so critical in Shelby County in Memphis. One person may be a defendant one day and a victim of a crime the next day. And so you can't just, look at a person and decide how you're going to label them or treat them, because the roles are muddy here, due to poverty, due to the way our community is. You can't just stereotype. You have to treat everybody with respect and dignity and give everybody a fair shake when they come in.
You said something, and when you're saying about victims' rights, there's a lot of victims, and this could have been their first time being a victim. And I don't want nobody to be a victim of anything, but if this is your first time, and you say they have rights, but many of them don't know they have rights because they're afraid, right? Because whenever something happens to you, it sometimes will freeze you into a place. And so what advice will you give to our listeners and our viewers that is saying, what is my rights? I don't know the rights. I've just been victimized, or my mom or my sister, and we're just afraid, and we just don't know what our rights is. What should we do? What should we not be doing? Can you share some of those tips with us?
Well, I hesitate to give legal advice, but what I would do if I were victimized, I would make sure that I stay in contact with that district attorney's office. The district attorney's office has a responsibility and a duty to make contact with victims in cases, as well as provide notice of what's happening in cases. And they have resources. There are community resources. There are county-run facilities where victims can go and get certain things. Those things vary now based on the type of victim you are. There's even monies and resources available depending on what the harm is. But I always refer people to the district attorney's office if they had that situation. Of course, as the judge, I wouldn't be involved in that at all. But the district attorney's office, I'm sure, would be able to provide that type of advice.
Yeah. And so, you all that's listening, don't suffer in silence and don't go away and not really knowing. I think so many times when we're thinking about the justice system and the legal system, a lot of people are afraid to open up their mouth, especially if there's somebody that maybe have made a poor choice many years ago. So they really are afraid. And to know that now when they come out, they have somebody that's truly on the bench, especially in your courtroom, that actually is a human being that understands them. Because I think a lot of times people get afraid. I mean, I don't know if you have already experienced it. When people know that you're a judge, they change always. Like, it's like, but you still the same girl, right?
People are button up, be real. I need to be perfect now.
Yeah, like, because you are still that girl. And that's what I love about your personality. You hadn't allowed God's blessing to take you from being a human being. And I tell people there's nothing better than just being human, right? You don't need all this other stuff. You just got to keep loving people, right?
Absolutely.
And love people where they are.
Absolutely. And there's no responsibility or requirement to be a perfect victim or a perfect person. And so many times you'll hear in court hearings that when giving testimony about what happened or what the victim says happened to them, they may sometimes I have to advise them of their rights.
Yeah.
And say, you have the right to remain silent. Anything that you say can be used against you. And you have the right to counsel if you like an attorney to confer with before answering certain questions you may. So you don't have to be a perfect person. What the obligation for anybody, and I say victims, but anybody who's a witness in court, the obligation is that you tell the truth. When they come in to court to testify, I tell them to raise their right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth? And if they swear to tell the truth and everything that they say is truthful, that's the only requirement. Now, and it's a crime for you to be sworn in and perjure yourself
and tell a tale.
So you don't have to make up something. If that's what happened, say what happened.
Exactly.
Unless you have a right not to say it because it'll incriminate you or some other constitutional right you have.
So and I think about where you are. I believe you have one of the most highest profile courts down there. Because any big case, major case, they're coming in your courtroom, right?
I think it's just look of the
I don't know, baby. Because I be sitting, I said, oh,
it's just
that
random.
case in Judge Batchlor's courtroom?
Absolutely.
Oh, my.
And of course, I can't talk about pending
Right,
cases,
right.
but it's just luck of the draw. They have a random system. They have assured me that although it seems that I get a lot of high-profile cases, it is purely random.
Yeah. Well, you know what? At least they got a pretty face to look at when they looking like, Lord, what's going to happen to me now? But when you think about, because you have these high-profile cases, high-profile cases, in my opinion, comes along with who do you listen to, what the book says, the political influences that can be behind it, the public influence. How do you make sure you keep yourself balanced of making sure you're hearing and you're reading and you're doing exactly by the law?
And that's an easy answer. Judges are ethically prohibited from swaying with the political clamor.
Good.
I cannot, just because this group this week is taking on this issue and it's very important to this group, even if I like those people as humans, I can't side with that group or make certain decisions this week because that's what the issue of the week is. And I certainly can't do that on either side. And so because there's always going to be opinions on either side, but the judge has to be that neutral person, that neutral party. I always tell people, when you put that robe on, you are gone. It's covering you.
Yeah.
Now you're here to be a fair arbiter of the law. I have to make sure that I'm hearing and making decisions on the facts that are now before the court. In fact, many times people will hear what the news said happened on a particular case, and they've made a determination, oh, he's guilty. He did it, and he needs to go to jail. And there's not been not even a little bit of testimony offered in that case. And so sometimes it's a big difference between what comes out in court and what the newspaper may have, or what the word on the curb is, or what the comments on social media may even say. We know that many times in court, witnesses have to be subpoenaed many times to come to court. And when they're subpoenaed to come to court, many times they don't come.
Oh
for
no,
various reasons.
I would say yeah. Why they're not coming?
For various reasons. I've worked as a prosecutor, and I know that sometimes I would subpoena a witness and they didn't show up because they were afraid. A lot of times there are dangerous things that happen, and we say that if I were subpoenaed, I will come and just tell the truth. But it's easier said than done sometimes, especially if you're dealing with a violent case. It may be that, well, if I testify, will I be the next victim? When I was a prosecutor specifically, I would reassure them and provide whatever resources I could to try to assure them of their safety. But the reality is, I'm not going home with that person, and they may be afraid. Also, people may not come to court because it's inconvenient. People have jobs.
Yep. And some people have struggling jobs.
Some people have struggling jobs, and some people have a job where if I miss this 5 hours or 3 hours to go to court, that's the difference between me putting food on my table or not.
Yeah.
Or some people have transportation issues, or some people change their mind.
Yeah.
Some people are victimized, and especially in domestic cases, and I'm not just speaking of intimate partners, it may be my cousin. And I was really, really mad at my cousin when she slapped me. But now, it don't hurt anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not, it was just a bruise for a few days. I don't want my cousin to go to jail. Or even if it's someone you don't know. It's a lot of times people don't know the person, but they say, well, this was an 18-year-old, a 19-year-old. I don't want to alter his life forever. So I'm just not going to show up as a victim. So my point is, all of those are guesses. There are various reasons why victims don't show up, or by witnesses will refuse to come to court. But many times that particular witness's testimony is the difference between whether there is probable cause for the case to continue to go forward in my courtroom or not. And so if that person doesn't show up, or that testimony is different once challenged, sometimes people have made a statement to police and they said, police officer, this is what happened. As soon as the defense attorney starts asking questions, all of that crumbles, and none of that was true. And it happens on the stand all the time. People see examples of that on TV drama legal shows. And so, that sometimes happens in real court. And so the judge can't say, well, on the internet they said that he was doing XYZ. No, I have to make a ruling based on what's before me at that time. And so it's a huge responsibility.
Yeah.
So whether it's a high profile case, in summary, whether it's a high profile case or not, the judge's responsibility is the same, to consider the facts that are before the court at that time and to make sure that you're following the law as it applies to that case.
And you got to understand social media, and we all have been guilty of watching the judge shows on TV. So I'm sure everybody wants to tell you how to do your job, but you're looking at it. So is it an opportunity that when people are on having whatever situation, for people to come in your courtroom? Because is it, a lot of people say, well, I don't like to go to 201, I don't like to go here because they got that, but you may need to go and sit in to see what this looks like. What does the process look like?
Absolutely. And first of all, let me say this. Okay. I don't mind people watching Judge Judy or watching, the old episodes of Judge Joe Brown. They are entertainment and they have value, but it's not at all like what real court is. In fact, I am a Law and Order fan. I'm the person, I will watch the 10-year-old episodes of Law and Order, but I'm not watching it for truth. It's fiction. And so I think that some of the shows on TV have altered the way people think about court, and it definitely alters sometimes the chemistry between the litigant and the judge. Many times people think that they're going to come in and argue their case in a pro se fashion like you would on a judge show, and I'm like, oh no, so you have the right to counsel,
right.
And so I admonish them and let them know you don't have to do this alone. You can either be appointed counsel if you qualify, or you can bring your own attorney. You're facing jail time,
for real jail time.
So
this is real life.
This is real life. And so it's important for people to know that there is a difference. And to your point, I always invite people to come into the courtroom. My court specifically, General Sessions Criminal Courts as a whole are open 24 hours a day, but not for the public. Judicial commissioners work around the clock to make sure that the work doesn't get become overburdened. Our justice system would be totally backed up, more backed up than it is in Shelby County if there were not judicial officers working around the clock. They're setting bond, they're making arrests, they're signing search warrants, hearing order protection matters in an ex parte fashion around the clock. But my particular courtroom is open during the daytime time hours. We start at 9 o'clock and we complete the docket when the docket is done. That varies on a day-to-day basis because we will have, say, 10 cases set for hearing. If all of those individuals show up for the hearing and all of those need to be resolved through an actual hearing, I mean, we could be there till 4:30, 5 o'clock, however long it takes to finish the work. If some of the people don't show up, or if defense attorneys and prosecutors resolve some of them without a hearing, you may be done at 2:30, 3 o'clock, 3:30. But at any rate, I always tell people, if you want to have an opportunity to observe and not potentially miss the end of the docket, because when people come to court, they don't want to see me sitting in my office doing work.
Right.
Because I'm in there typing and reviewing things and making sure that my docket for the next day is prepped. But they don't want to see that.
Right,
they want to see court.
The real action. We want to see the action.
So if they want to see the action of court and what's really happening in Shelby County, they're welcome to come to Division 7. It's on the 4th floor temporarily. There's renovations going on in the courthouse. But if they are interested in seeing what's real and what happens, come on down. You can sit in the courtroom and you'll be able to see real cases happening in Shelby County.
And I think you really tell people to do that, especially ones that are civic engaged, that really want to understand, and especially in your courtroom, there's so many high profile cases. And with the rise of social media and media that's not accurate, people will say, oh, they just didn't do this right. Yeah. Well, they didn't see what you saw, right? And so it's going to be imperative that we, as a whole community, because there's one thing I'm built on, is community and culture, to make sure, especially the culture, understands the process, right? Because a lot of times one person may say this and it's totally incorrect. But if you get the information for yourself, then you can tell other people in your community the correct way versus just doing it your way. And where you are, to me, you're in a very unique space of life, right? You are a community girl on the outside, but you're a flat-foot judge in the courtroom, right?
That's right.
And so, and it's for people got to understand, you got to do your job when you got to do what's uphold the law. So even if they see you out in public, you ain't talking about whatever goes on in that space.
Correct.
So don't let nobody tell you, well, judge said this. Judge ain't said nothing, right? Judge said what you had to say in the courtroom outside. How do you balance that? Because I know there will be people that will try to just keep batting you, and especially even some of the media personnel will try to badger information, but you have to keep your calm at all times.
A lot of the things that are hot topics that people want to discuss outside of a court setting are things that are specifically prohibited by the ethical rules. And so it's easy for me not to engage in it because I'm going to execute this role in an ethical fashion. I'm obligated to do it. And when I was sworn in, that was what my oath was. And you know how I am about an oath.
Right.
I said I'm going to do it. I'm going to try my best to do it with fidelity.
Yeah.
And so I'm not going to violate ethical rules at all.
Yeah.
And I just can't talk about certain things, and I can't be a part of all of the, opinions about things. The point of being a judge is that you're a neutral. You are a neutral. And so if I go out and express an extreme opinion one way or another, I have to recuse myself on any case that will come before me that involve that.
Exactly.
But guess what? The rules also say that if there's a type of case that you'd have to routinely recuse yourself from, that too is an ethical violation. Woo. So if I just said, I make some blanket statement about theft of properties, now I can't hear thefts, but I'm a judge. And theft is on my docket every single day. So I'm no longer qualified to do the work.
Yeah.
And so I firmly make sure that I stay away from certain topics, and even if sometimes it makes people uncomfortable because they really want to know what you feel about things. I can't do it, and I'm not going to do it because I just want to be an ethical judge and do what I'm supposed to do for the community.
Well, I tell you, Judge Batchlor, she's all about doing what's right. Y'all heard her. She done went through all of these lanes, but she's about doing the work, and I'm just super excited that she's here with our show. Stay tuned. We got more when we come back.
Join the rhythm and feel the beat in our community. where we're all complete. With Dr. Telisa, let's take a stand. Together we'll grow hand in hand.
From the
Dr.
roots of
Telisa
history
show.
to dreams we chase, Dr. Talisa Franklin shines a light on every face. In
At the
every
Dr.
heartbeat,
Talisa
there's
show.
a story to tell. Gotta keep the culture celebrated as we excel. Here at the Dr. Talisa show.
It's time for an upgrade. Let's upgrade your skincare routine. If you suffer from acne scars, dark spots, or severe hyperpigmentation, you need the Tones by Coco Brightening Moisturizer, Rapid Dark Spot Corrector, and you have to try our Kojic Acid Sea Moss Soap. These products work so fast, you can see results in just 7 days. You have to try. Shop now and get 10% off your first order at tonesbycoco.com.
Happy 901 day. Happy 901 day, Memphis. Happy 901. Oh my God. It's here, y'all. September 1, 2025 is Happy 901. And listen, I want to say Happy 901 to all as we enjoy Memphis. Listen, there are so many activities that's happening, but I'm super grateful that you're right here with the Tri-State Defender. My. But listen, I am proud to announce that you can catch me weekly right here on the Tri-State Defender, where we'll be diving in all things community. If you have an event or something positive happening in our community, I want to hear from you. Yes, I do. I want to hear from you. I truly care about our city, and I want to spotlight the amazing things that you're doing. So don't hesitate. Go on over to my website at www.telisafranklin.com and submit your ideas today. Let's celebrate the 901 hire together and keep spreading positivity. Remember, you can catch me each and every week right here on the Tri-State Defender. Thank you, and I cannot wait to share your stories. I am Dr. Telisa Franklin.
Join the rhythm and feel the beat in our community where we're all complete. With Dr. Telisa, let's take a stand. Together we'll grow hand in hand.
From the
Dr.
roots of
Telisa
history
show.
to dreams we chase, Dr. Talisa Franklin shines a light on every face. In
At the
every
Dr.
heartbeat,
Talisa
there's
show.
a story to tell. Gotta keep the culture celebrated as we excel. Here at the Dr. Talisa show.
So listen, y'all, we are back right here on the Dr. Telisa Franklin show, where we're having conversations all about the community and the culture. And I'm super excited to have Judge Batchlor in with us today. She's been talking some good stuff for people need to know. But when you think about where you are, Judge, are you the first judge in your family?
I am the first judge in my family. I'm the first lawyer in my family at all. So when I graduated from law school, everybody came out to support. And you know, I have a very big family. My grandmother had 15 children.
Very
so
big.
Until recently, I had 14 aunts and uncles, of course, and my dad. One of my aunties passed away, which we've been continuing to grieve about as a family. But I have a lot of aunts, a lot of uncles, and a lot of support.
Yeah.
And so they are excited and honored that this is yet something else that our family gets to say, is that we have this person doing this particular type of work and service. My family is a family of servers, if you will.
Yeah.
You know that we have people in my family, my uncle, Gregory Stokes. He is a pastor, and he's a committed servant in his own right. You know, that's just our thing.
Yes.
My aunt Juliet Eskridge, she does a lot of work with her sorority, and it's just involved in all kinds of things in the community. So I really say I got it honest. I was one of those people who I did service and community projects when I was in high school. I was involved when I was even at the undergrad level in Alpha Phi Omega and Delta Sigma Theta organizations where community service is the driving factor. And then that naturally carried over into my adult life. I had an opportunity to go to Memphis Theological. I always joke that I'm a divinity school dropout. But God knows my
But
heart.
at least you know the word.
I know the word, and God knows my heart, and so He knows that it's in my heart to complete that program one day. But I say that to say, when I took the leap to start that program, it was not to become a pastor. It was not to get in the pulpit and minister in that fashion. But I knew at that time that my calling was in the area of law, in the area of criminal law specifically, and so I have treated this as my ministry. And that means that I nurture it. It means that I make sure that I am consistently and constantly checking myself.
Yes.
To make sure that I am honoring God in everything that I do. I don't want my work to be displeasing to Him.
Yes.
And so if I do other people wrong, if I judge people in the wrong ways, my title is judge, but I still don't get free reign to judge people in the wrong ways about the wrong things. People come into court and they'll say, Judge, I'm not a bad person. And I say, wait. That's not even up for debate.
Right.
I'm not here to determine who's good and who's bad. I'm going to find who's guilty if you're set for trial.
And who's not.
And who's not. Okay? And so that is the work that has powered me, that's fueled me, that commitment to service, that commitment to hard work, that hustle, that grind that my dad had to say, you don't get anything from laziness.
Yes.
You're going to get up in the morning, you're going to clean up, you're going to follow rules in this house. And I was that, I was raised that way, that you had certain responsibilities and things you had to do. And that's why I'm able to hold other people accountable. Because I'm accountable for myself, and I believe that as adults and as people, we should be accountable. And so sometimes I've got to hold you accountable. And that may look like a ruling that you're not pleased with, or a decision in court that is not what you want it to be, but it's nonetheless required.
Absolutely. Because, old folks say if you do the crime, you should do the time. I'm here to tell you. You can't say it, but I can say it. Because I believe there are so many people that feel like they're just getting away with a lot of stuff. And especially in the city of Memphis, there's so much going on. So what neighborhood are you from?
Well, it depends.
Okay.
So my family, is a Walker Homes family.
Okay.
So my grandmother still lives in Walker Homes, and I would spend a lot of time there. My parents, however, when I was born, they had a home in East Memphis, Hickory Hill. So I was in Hickory Hill, but then, of course, now my dad lives in Whitehaven, and when I was growing up, it became a Whitehaven residence too. So
You're just Memphis.
I'm just Memphis. I was all around that place. Now, I don't have ties to North Memphis.
Okay.
But I say I'm a friend of North Memphis. All my friends are from North Memphis, and y'all accept and love me. And so I even get to say, by virtue of you guys loving on me, that I got a little bit of North Memphis.
You
too.
From the North. We give it. We take you. And so, Judge, you are doing not only being just a judge and doing what you do. What community service are you still doing any community service? Because I believe that little black girls need to see it, right? It is imperative that, especially right now in the season we are, they need to see black women doing absolutely incredible things, and they hadn't had to sell their soul to get to where you are.
Absolutely. So some of the community service work that I do is centered around children. I'm on the board right now of an exciting board that I love. It's the Young Wall Street.
Okay.
Young Wall Street is a board, and they emphasize teaching young children how to play the stock market, essentially.
Love it.
It's an opportunity for them to learn how to have wealth in the future. So that's one thing that I do, and I do that because of my desire to empower the next generation. I'm involved in the Shelby County Drug Court Foundation. In fact, here in the studio where we film, it's right next to one of the places that's a treatment provider for the Drug Court Foundation.
Heart Center, baby.
The Heart Center. And
I love
They do
Drug Court.
amazing work,
Yes,
don't they?
yes.
And it's just an opportunity for me to commit to pouring into people who have admitted that they have an addiction issue. And many times we see individuals who, although they may be criminally involved, we know why they're criminally involved and are able to treat it. And we have many people who are just really, really successful. I want to say it's over an 80% rate of success for Shelby County Drug Court participants that graduate and then they never reoffend.
Never. And I had one earlier, and every week we try to talk about one of those clients, because they are voiceless voices where they feel like people feel like they don't have a voice, but they really do have a powerful voice. And it's because drug court gave them a second chance. From Judge Dwyer now to Judge Wilson.
Absolutely.
You're on an amazing board.
Absolutely.
It's doing good stuff.
I am a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority
Yes.
Incorporated. I'm active in the Shelby County Alumni Chapter. I haven't always been active in that chapter, but I was a founding member of that chapter. Went away to some other chapters when I was in Jackson area working with the Department of Justice and stuff. But I'm recently back in that chapter and working with the Social Action Committee. So I'm excited to see what opportunities we'll have this upcoming sorority year to do some amazing work. But it's just I have a laundry list of organizations that I work with, quite honestly. But it's always been my responsibility. I say, I'm one of the things I always say: to whom much is given, much is required. And so, yes, I'm tired. Yes, I'm busy. But for me, being that mirror that allows a little girl to see what she can be, that's important to me. I have joked with people and told people, they say, why did you want to be a lawyer? When did you first want to be a lawyer? And I have told people, when I was watching the Cosby Show.
Oh my!
When I was watching the Cosby Show, the Cosby Show was just everything to black families growing up. When I was growing up, and you had an opportunity to see this successful black family, and Claire Huxtable was an attorney, and you never really saw her in a court setting, but you knew she was an attorney.
Right.
And I think there were a few episodes in her law office.
Yeah.
And just the fact of knowing that that's what the successful, good family did, it was enough to inspire me and make me want to at least go down that road.
Wow.
And then ultimately, of course, I found that was my niche and I was good at it and all of that. But just the mirror of a TV figure who was fictional was enough to motivate me. So I can't imagine what I can do in all the lives that I can be a part of to encourage them. We have a program, a SLIP program through the Memphis Bar Association where students get to come to the court and they get to intern in the summertime.
That's
and those
awesome.
Students are captivated by me a lot of times. They'll just want to spend time and ask questions and work on projects. And I am so excited and honored to have their interest. Like, we'll go to lunch and we'll talk about important things that they saw in court that day. And many of them, some of them don't want to be lawyers per se, but they just want to be around people who can inspire them and motivate them. And so we've been able to continue to build relationships with those students and make sure that they had scholarships when they went off to college and just do amazing things.
Yeah.
So my heart is really in motivating the people of the next generation so that they can be whatever it is that they really want to be,
Yeah. And it's a blessing because you think about many children that may be living in poverty-stricken communities. It doesn't mean that they have to live a life like that as an adult. They can say, I'm going to go to school, I'm going to get me a good education, and I can be whatever I want to be. But a lot of times they can't be what they hadn't seen.
Absolutely. And I'm going to say this, let me add this caveat. They cannot go to school and still set goals, still realize that goal and do amazing things. I didn't say one of the other boards that I work with is ECOP. It's short for Economic Opportunities.
Okay.
And that is a board that allows me an opportunity through that work to help people to find economic opportunities or really good jobs. People who can go through that program, or if you're justice involved or have been justice involved, they'll have an opportunity to be placed in work immediately. And this is good paying work. And in addition to that, there's programs where they can go and get different certifications. You can get CDLs, or you can get different certifications that make it where you can go do high-level work in throughout various fields. And so sometimes education is the way. Sometimes people need to go to school for 8 or 9 years like I did and be a nerd. And some people have a skill, a gift that God had put in their hands, and it allowed them to make some really good money using their hands or using their heart. And so I don't prescribe that there's any one way for a person to be successful, but I just make it my point to try to push people to those economic opportunities. In fact, ECOP and other organizations, the Office of Reentry and things of that nature, they come up in my court frequently, because when individuals come up, when I arraign them, the next thing we do is talk about an attorney. People have a constitutional right to counsel. And so when they come in for an attorney, I'll say, are you working, to determine whether they're indigent
Yeah.
or not. Many people almost act like it was a trick question. Well, no. Are you working? Do you
Yeah.
have a job? And I'll have to say, why are you not working? Because the person walked in, they
You got a healthy body.
healthy body, they present well. It seemed like you could just be somebody's really great employee. What's going on? Well, I just don't have a job. I never had a job, or I last worked two years ago, and I just haven't since I got laid off. And I said, well, you seem like a perfect candidate for a program. And we have gotten people pushed into those programs, and they're coming back reporting that they're now on a trajectory at least to be employed. And I firmly believe that when people have something to lose, it many times offers that deterrent effect that is necessary in the justice system.
Yes,
Because
yes.
sometimes if a person, for example, has a history of theft-related offenses, but they don't have work, they're likely to continue
Go back and do it
to,
again.
commit those type of crimes.
Yeah.
But a person who now has a $20 an hour job and the ability to care for themselves and that self-respect that comes with that may be a person that we never see again. And that's my goal. I tell people when their case is over in my courtroom, I do not want to see you again.
Right.
If you see me at the mall, wave. If you see me at Kroger, say hello.
Yeah.
But other than that, don't come back here to see me.
Right.
So we really want to push people out of the courts, and if you have to be there, of course, because you committed a crime, and even if you're found guilty of it, let that be the last time. So that's where we are. We're just trying to, do a little bit better.
So, and I love what your heart. And so, with the midst of your heart, are you going to activate any programs within your court? Because one thing I like with Judge Winfro, she has with her mental health court, she has these programs because she's really trying to help. If not, you just have a cycle of the same people that you'll see over and over again. So can I talk about, do you have any initiatives that you wanting to initiate in your courtroom? Even though people say, well, she don't need nothing in her courtroom, that's the bad offenders.
Yeah.
But they got souls too, they got hearts too, and they may need somebody to speak in their life. What programs you're thinking about doing in your courtroom?
Well, let me take a little bit of privilege real quick just to shout out Judge Renfro.
Love
she is
her.
doing amazing work
Yes.
in the area of mental health. If you know her, it is her heart work.
Yes.
So she does the work of the judge, but then she gives it her absolute all. She's everywhere. And what I love about her is that she doesn't keep what's going on in her courtroom quiet. She's constantly in the light, on the news, and sharing with the community the good work that happens in General Sessions Criminal Court. So shout out to Judge Renfro. But beyond that, what my goal is for the future, I've been in conversations with people involved in the city, both the city and the county side, to kind of work towards potentially a program that will allow opportunities for wraparound services for those who would be candidates for judicial diversion.
Okay.
Judicial diversion is a program, and this is for 18 to 24-year-olds. I missed saying that.
Okay.
18 to 24-year-olds, of course, are people who are young offenders, but they're not children, but they have the longest time to potentially be in the criminal justice system
Gotcha.
once they're in it. We have individuals that come to court, they're 77 years old and have a rap sheet this thick.
Wow.
And we don't want that to become those 18 to 24-year-olds. And so judicial diversion is a program that's offered. It's something that's been around forever. But judicial diversion allows a person who's a first-time offender to go through a period of probation and have an opportunity for it to come off their record. Well, many times people, because they're young, don't seize that opportunity to the best of their ability, and so they'll violate by picking up new offenses or just not checking in with their probation officer and otherwise not doing what they're supposed to do, which causes them to be violated. Well, we want to potentially provide economic opportunities for them to address certain things that may have presented as barriers in their life and be successful at that diversion. So since that was going to be what the disposition was supposed to be, which is supposed to be them getting it off their record, we want to empower them to do that because we believe, again, once you get to the end and you've successfully completed that diversion, you got that record expunged from your criminal record, now you can move on and be great, and you don't have to see me again.
Again, just see you in Kroger.
So that's one thing that we're working on. We're also working with a couple of schools, just begun conversations on that, but I'm hopeful that we'll be able to do something in the way of a civics program. When you talk to people, you always say they don't teach civics in the schools anymore. They don't have civics. Well, we hope to offer a civics program where we get some of our community leaders who we know do a lot of volunteering in the community and are willing to do that, so that we can present opportunities for students to understand every side of the government. And we will do some of it at the local schools, and we hope to be able to do some of it on site, so they'll be able to take field trips to some of the government spaces and get to be a part of the action, get to be able to, if you were a lawyer, how would you argue this? And so they would be able to do mock trials and things, so that they can be really engaged and hopefully generate some interest in this work, and if not interest in the work, just citizens who are able to be adults who are able to be a part of knowing that they can vote, because that's one of the key pieces. We hope that those that are in the program that are 17 turning 18 would leave that program registered as voters and equipped to be good citizens.
That is a blessing. So listen, I know we're wrapping up, but I love to ask all of my guests this: what is your one word that describes, that you would say, community?
That describes this community?
No, community. In your heart, what is the one word that describes community to you?
Love.
Whoa.
A community is love, and that's why I have been just committed to giving back to it.
Yeah.
I love Memphis. I love Shelby County, and I want to love on everybody who will allow me to. And so that's it for me. It's love.
I love it. So then what's the one word you will say when it comes down to culture?
I don't know about that one. That's a tricky one. I don't know. You have to give me a chance to think about that. I'll drop it in the comments.
But we'll drop it in the comment. That'd be good. But when you say it, when you're thinking about, I always tell people, I love God and I love his people. And I have to love his people because his people is our culture, right? And so no matter what your nationality is, you just got to love people, right? And so to sum up, if we get to loving people and loving people and loving people, I hate to say it, that wouldn't even be a need for your job, because if we was loving people and loving people, people will all be doing right. But we know they just ain't gonna do that.
If the court's emptied out, I'd gladly put an application in somewhere else. It would be for the greater good.
Yeah, but so that's the thing. If we can just get back, Judge, just to loving people. And one thing I want people, whenever they hear me or see me, I want them to walk away and say, I made them feel valued, heard, and seen. And they felt my genuine love. If I can help somebody as I go along this way, then I know my living is not in vain.
That's the one.
You know, and that's for sure. Any lasting words before we wrap up on today?
Well, I firmly believe this service is the rent we pay for the privilege of living on this earth. I've been a living example of that. I'm firmly committed to it. In fact, I tell people I'm firm, I'm fair, and I'm focused on justice, and I hope people will continue to engage with me. For those who want to have more information about me, they can find out about me at betterwithbatchlor.com. I firmly believe our courts are better with Batchlor.
I love that, better with Batchlor. Hey, y'all, I'm your girl, Dr. Telisa Franklin. It has been a plum pleasing pleasure. Know that I love you, baby. Absolutely, positively love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Make this day, make this moment, make this second the best ever, and learn how to be the best version of you, because everybody else is already taken. Know that I love you, baby. Blessings to you. Until next time, be blessed is my prayer for you. We did it. Woo. This is Air 1 to 2.